big speech prepared, but the first thing I'm going to say, I'm not retiring and I'm not going to Florida. I'm staying right here. First of all, more importantly, you know, I was getting a little emotional sitting over there, and I was at a point maybe getting a little teary-eyed, but you know something? I'm not going to do that tonight. Tonight, this is a congratulatory night for me. I am so thankful that I had an opportunity for serving in government for 36 years that was never once questioned as it relates to who or what I was about and why I was doing what I did. I did it for one particular reason. I was elected by the people of this community to represent them to the best of my ability, not for any personal, financial, or family gain. I did this for one reason, because you, the people, are the most important people in this community. That's why you elected folks like us, to be here and to do your business and to represent your finances, your education, and your wherewithal to the best of my ability. When I first ran for office in 1974, I ran for state representative and I got elected. There was a lady that I met, and she happened to turn out to be the first woman there at the city of Medford. Her name was Marilyn Catino Pareka. And she gave me guidepost that I used in this very past election. Basically was, true leadership is found in the plan that one has to offer for respectful consideration. As we all know, I did not run for re-election to the Medford City Council this past year. I ran for the office of mayor. At the outset, I want to thank Anthony D'Antonio, because 4 years ago, he broke the ice, saying in this community, someone can run against the mayor. No one is invincible, no one owns the job. Unfortunately, he didn't make it, but he tried, and he got 36% of the vote. That's a huge number to get, coming out of the blocks for the very first time. I decided to run for this job this past time, only for one reason: to present a plan that would give you a vision, a plan that would give you an opportunity, and a plan that would tell you how your taxes and how your buildings and how your education system would work. I have to thank my wife, Susan. She was the campaign manager to my campaign, and you don't know why, she never was involved in politics before. I needed and wanted someone who could talk to me and relate to them as the person on the street, and you can't say this, and this is what you should be doing, and how do you make this connection work? She stabilized me during this campaign, because everyone knows at the drop of the dime, I could lose it. And I have probably at council meetings in the past through the years, and that's only because of my passion for the job. That's not because of any hate for or against any one person or any one issue. You know, the one thing this community really has to figure out, and with all due respect to the incoming administration, this election was not a landslide victory. So there's a lot of work to be done here to make this city go the right direction, and to bring people together. And to bring people together, there has to be an understanding that folks need to be involved. And how do you get involved? You need to speak up. You come to that podium on a Tuesday night or whatever it might be. I will assure you of this. I may be sitting there now up until January 4th, but I'll be behind that rail after January 4th. Because if I believe that there is something of major importance to our community, no voice should be stifled, past, present, or the future. Because that's what it's all about. I'm 71 years old and I'm proud of it, but I'm not old. I'm not going to sit in a rocking chair. Two particular points I want to bring up, and I think it definitely needs to be cleared up, because it was misdirected during this past campaign for mayor. I was never against new schools. What I was against was the opportunity for the people of Medford to have voted for new schools. That's number one. Number two, you were taking away your community schools. So when we went to 14 schools down to 4, that was a huge change in this community. And a lot of people did not have their input into that. And as a result of that, and the reason why we built new schools at that point in time, some 15 years ago, was the schools were becoming run down. They were becoming misused or not used correctly, and they needed a lot of repairs. Well, here we are now, some 15 years later. Rick Javier, on his first year on the term, That's 4 years ago. That would have made it 11 years ago. Produced a paper that said the new schools are $1,102,000 in repairs. We're right back to where we were. That's why we built the new schools. There is the need to making sure that the new council, the new school committee stays on top of their buildings, because look right up there. That's almost 3 years old. 3 years old, and the city is yet to fix that. And the superintendent of schools was sitting right over there when that ceiling fell. And it still has to be fixed. People, you've got to be involved. You need to stay involved. You know, I'm over this feeling of right now of being sad. I'm not sad. I'm glad, because I have created a new family for myself. A family of people not only who believe, but they need and they want the change to take place in this community. You know, this past election presented an awful lot of opportunities for everyone. Opportunities for people to write for or write against. Whether you like me or didn't like me, whether you like my opponent, whether you like my councils or not. You have 2 brand new councils, you have 2 brand new school committee people. That in and of itself should open up big doors for the people in this community who want to see how and where their election process is going. And do they vote for the right people? The only way you're going to find out if you vote for the right people, don't wait for 2 years and wait for the campaign literature to come out. Watch, as I will, each and every week and each and every month, what's taking place in the school committee, what's taking place at the city council. And if you don't like it, speak up. I'll call your council. I'll call your school committee person. You just can't be a lump in the log and say, I'm against it, I don't like it. You need to speak up. And people did speak up in this last election. Unfortunately, it was a beautiful day. Only 38% of the people came out to vote. Hopefully, I think on both sides, everybody would have thought more people would have come out. But they didn't. But the 38%, they spoke. It was close, and I think we'll all acknowledge the fact it was close. So there's no mandate one way or the other, but there is one mandate, and that's this. I think the people of this community expect the elected politicians to do their job on behalf of the people of this community, and that's what I did for 36 years. I did my job, and I'm proud of the fact that I did. You know, there's always people during the campaign that you want to acknowledge, and you know, there's so many. I can look at this entire audience. But to me, he's my unsung hero in each and every one of my campaigns. Whenever I ask him to do anything, he just does it. There's no questions asked. And that's my brother Anthony, and I have to publicly acknowledge. And I just caught her eye in the back of the room. And I want to publicly acknowledge you, Nancy. You came here on behalf of the Parika family. Her family stood out at the polls for me on election day because they believed in me, and I thank you very much. Nancy Parika. You know, we could go on and on with stories here, and the second thing I told you about the schools. And the second thing are the kiosks here in the square. As you all know, I'm just dead set against them. I don't think they're working right. There's a resolution on the council agenda here tonight, and it reflects upon the fact that during this past campaign, my opponent put out a questionnaire as it relates to senior citizens, should they be allowed to park for nothing. Not only do I support that, if we're going to tweak it, then let it be tweaked and give some benefit back to this community. And I would hope that this city council holds the present administration feet to the fire by telling the Republic parking people that seniors do not have to park here. It's bad enough that you get taxed for everything else. And 45% of this community is made up of seniors. Give them a break, folks, because you get the water, you get the meals tax, you get the hotel tax, and you get your real estate tax. And anything else you want to talk about just keeps going up in this community. And while everything keeps going up in this community, salaries have not gotten up. Everyone that works in this building works for you. Your tax-paying dollars pay for everyone's job in this particular building. To get your biggest bang for the buck, let them work for you. And that would be an easy way to do it. Remember, this Republic company is here for 10 years, and you've got no control over it. But the one thing you have control over is the people who signed off on that contract, and they have a right to go there and negotiate. And when my opposition turned around and put that out there, and that's one thing I would be supportive of, that senior citizens in this city park for nothing in the city of Medford. When I mention my wife Susan, you have to understand something. As much as a novice she is, She's been an educator for 23 years as a retired school teacher. So she knows what English, the language is all about. Sometimes when I talk too fast, I say the wrong words. It just doesn't come out right. And she said, you can't do that, you can't say that. But I am blessed. You know, Paul sort of like hit it on the head. I've been blessed with 2 women in my life. And 2 families in my life. I am a very lucky man. I'm very thankful. I didn't lose an election. You know what I won? I won the people of the city of Medford who believed in Bob Penta, because I believe in you folks. And with that being said, I want to conclude by saying the following. My friend Jimmy DeVito, you'll understand this. In 1942, it was General Douglas MacArthur who had to leave the Philippine Islands because at the Battle of Bataan, they got beaten up pretty bad.